Welcome to another episode of Garden Studios podcast. My name is Paul. I'm your host, and to my right is my Native American princess, Sacagawea.
Mattel.
Today we have an amazing guest. I might get emotional.
Oh.
So my friend, he's leaving the United States. By will. He's not getting deported.
By choice.
By
yeah.
choice.
By choice.
And he was one of my first friends here in Redding, California.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you hate this, but he's a white man. Sorry, is that trigger? Okay, don't say anything until after.
Okay. I'll let you introduce me first.
He's from New Zealand. He's an amazing storyteller, moving storyteller.
Thank you. Wow.
And it really hurts me to say that he's leaving this in a few days.
Yeah.
He's the best music person here in Redding, California. Yes, I said it.
Whatever.
He honestly,
What?
he's just so knowledgeable. He's music. He went to music school, and he's so humble and so amazing, and I love him so much. With no further ado,
Wait. Drum roll.
Drum roll. Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Marcus Burton.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Hey, bro.
I feel so honored. Hey.
Hey,
Wait,
man.
when are you guys gonna stream this episode? I'm curious.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now. Okay, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because I intend to surprise as many people in New Zealand as possible as to my
there you go.
reintegration into society.
So when exactly are you leaving?
I leave Tuesday the 25th of
Tuesday.
October.
It's already the 22nd. So
Yeah,
it's
so
3
it's
days.
3
Okay, so
days.
it's airing. Yeah, way after that.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I'm so happy to be here, bro. This
you
is
for
so
having
much
me.
fun. Hey, Marcus is one of the most fun people I've ever hung out with.
Oh.
Am I allowed to say the things that you do?
You can.
He's an amazing
you can
storyteller.
No,
for it.
babe. More than that, he has a signature dance move.
Mm.
So we served on the same worship team, both first year and second year
second year.
of BSSM.
Yep.
And first year he was our worship leader, and second year he was our bassist, killing it.
Thank you.
And he has a celebratory dance where you go on your hands, you do a handstand on the wall,
Yep.
and then you begin to percolate,
Gyrate. Yeah.
gyrate your hips.
Hips.
Right, otherwise known as twerking. I would ask you to perform, but that's glass. I don't want it to break.
Oh yeah.
And
This is also a PG show. Right. Oh, okay.
For the most part.
Good.
anything can happen, bro.
Anything can happen.
Anything is possible. But yeah. Well, so in every podcast we start off with our word of the day. So word of the day. Want to talk about that, babe?
So word of the day is basically a game we play through in all our podcasts where we choose a word that people don't typically use. It could be funny, it could be long, and whoever uses it first wins word of the day. They have to use it in the context of the podcast. But we can veto it if we feel like you just threw the word in and
Right.
it doesn't make sense, then we
Life
can
it.
veto it.
Right.
And the fun part is whoever wins an actual prize.
Wow.
So the last time someone won pho from Lay's house.
Oh,
Have you ever been to Lay's
I
house?
have.
Phenomenal. And right before that, Edward won 10. Or did he win? Krispy Kreme donuts.
Last week,
I'm not Krispy Kreme. I'm
last-
sorry. Heavenly Donuts.
Last week we did a gift card to Black Rose.
Yes, no one
Coffee.
won.
No,
Did I won?
Jedi
Okay,
one.
we
we
owe
gave
her.
it to her. Yeah.
Yeah, so we owe her. And I think we actually owe Edward too.
Yeah. He said. Yeah.
He said he don't want it, but he's gonna get it.
Yeah.
It's
So-
alright.
Right, he's gonna get it.
When you guys
Mm-hmm.
become a podcast mogul, and you have billions of dollars
You gotta
on
get
your belt, you
promotions.
can just
Right.
pay people
Like
back.
50 grand, right?
Yeah.
What if we do
Yeah.
like $50,000?
Imagine
How
that.
amazing! But then it would get really ugly though, because people are really gonna want to win it.
Yeah. They're gonna try to say it within 1 second.
I know. Well, today the winner gets. Oh, another one.
I'm trying to think of something because you're leaving for
I know that
New
is
Zealand.
tough, huh?
So something.
We'll mail him back to New Zealand. We'll DHL it. He's gonna win a 4-pack of. I'm trying to brainstorm as I go. Of
He's like furiously trying to think of things that come in form.
of local Redding milk from our
Whoa.
local farm. I just made that up right now.
Local
So
milk.
I'm gonna go. There has to be someone that sells milk around here, and so we'll go find it.
Amazing.
By the time it gets to you, it might be butter because of all the shaking
It's
and
not,
of all.
oh, I see. Yeah.
So we say milk. It might come out as butter.
Right.
It might come out, in a
Cottage
different
Cottage cheese.
Delightful.
form. But it's a thought
Thank you.
that counts. And why are we assuming that you're gonna win? I might win.
True.
It's true.
I've
Well,
been
I
trying
was
to win.
just trying to make it fair for whoever wins.
Right,
Actually,
right.
If
be
you
able to
win,
use
do
it.
I have to buy you 4 cartons of milk?
Yes,
Okay.
from New Zealand.
I didn't realize. Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Deal.
So today's word of the day is
Drum roll, please.
another. Oh my gosh, there's so much.
Buttress.
Buttress.
Buttress. Okay, so
I see.
what is buttress?
So there's a noun and there's a verb.
Oh, there's 2
Version.
forms. Great.
Oh.
So the noun is a projecting support of stone or brick built against a wall, or a source of defense or support. And then the verb is provide a building or structure with projecting supports built against the walls. And another definition for the verb is increase the strength of or justification for and reinforce.
Okay, so buttress,
Okay.
buttresses. Basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
There you go.
Very good.
So whoever says buttress first wins. So Marcus, tell us. So you grew up in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Wow. He really pulled up my file. didn't
Yeah.
he?
You were
Research.
born in 1995.
Thrive. Very good.
my accent.
Wow.
Wait, you're
My accent.
95?
I'm 95.
I'm older? Oh my
95.
gosh.
Wait, when were you? 94?
94.
Yeah.
93?
94.
4.
94.
So
Wow.
dude, you went to I mean, why is there so many great musicians from Christchurch?
Is
What's
there?
up with that? I mean, from
New
like,
Zealand.
New Zealand. I'm sorry. What did I
Oh,
say?
yeah.
Christchurch.
Christchurch. Yeah, Christchurch. No, specifically Christchurch. Is
Really?
there like a specific school there that people go to?
Yeah, I mean, so I went through a bachelor's of music
Okay.
from a place when I started my degree. It was
Uh-huh.
called CPRT Jazz School.
Oh.
They went through a big transition halfway through my degree, turned into Ara School of Music.
What is it?
Ara, which is a Maori word, which means path
Gotcha.
or like way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they rebranded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I went through that. There's a lot of people that went through that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, some bands you probably haven't heard of, like Shapeshifter.
Huh.
It's like a huge New Zealand band. They do like drum and bass festivals all over
Gotcha.
the world. Who are you thinking of? Like Lord and stuff? The
I mean,
Beths?
there was I only know 2 from Pickup Jazz. Do you follow them?
Not
Or
a
you're not
whole
on
lot.
social media,
Pick
right?
Up Jazz.
Yeah, so there's this
What's his name?
social media page called Pickup Jazz, and then they rebranded because I guess they don't want to be known as Pickup just Jazz. So now it's just Pickup, and they showcase a bunch of like Instagram musicians and
Okay,
whatnot.
cool.
And 2 of the people that I follow, I forgot the guy's name, but the girl's name is Emily Brown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, Emily Browning?
Browning. Yes, Emily
I went
Browning.
through school with Emily.
Crazy.
Yeah, she's amazing. So
Incredible.
she toured with Wolfbeck? No, Corey Wong.
Oh,
Who opened for
that's my
Volbeck
cousin.
and his-
Corey,
oh, yeah.
Corey, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I don't know who Corey Wong is. That's
Yeah.
incredible. So you
So there were cool people. There were a lot
You
of really
went to
cool
the
people.
school at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah, a lot of
That's
cool people
amazing.
went through that school. A lot of really talented people.
wow.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to, like, when I was 18, I wanted to go to Berkeley.
Oh yeah.
It just never happened. I've always wanted to go to, like, some type of music
Mm-hmm.
school. What is it like going to a music school? I mean, there's so many amazing musicians and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, what was the environment like?
I found it super inspiring.
Yeah, wow.
So, I mean, for me, like, music growing up was the first thing that I really clicked with.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt like I could do a number of things. Like, I was interested in architecture and paleontology and biology, and all these little things would kind of point me towards those things. Like, I was really curious and loved exploring and learning things.
Mm-hmm.
But music was really different for me. It, like, made my soul come alive.
Wow.
And just, I don't know, I was really curious about it.
Right.
And getting a degree in music was like the only thing that seemed to make sense when I finished high school,
Mm-hmm.
which, my parents got on board with eventually, understandably, like, who gets a degree in music,
Right.
like, yeah, but they were really supportive. And so when I got to what do you call it, like tertiary education, when I got to the degree, oh my goodness, the first year was one of the most exciting years of my life, because it was like suddenly I'm learning all of these new ways of interpreting what I'd been hearing my whole life. It's like it's putting language to what I kind of intuitively was exploring already.
Right.
So it completely exploded my world, in the most beautiful way. Like it just burst to life. And as far as like the culture of what it was like, it was some of the best years of my life, because everyone is just talking about music that they're into, and they're discussing like things that they're doing to improve and grow. So it's like a super exciting, super collaborative place to be.
Wow.
There was definitely elements of it that was super intimidating.
Yeah, like what?
Like having to do performances like at the end of each year. Actually, multiple points throughout all 3 years. You had to do like a showcase.
Oh.
You had to do...
everybody?
Yeah, everyone.
Do you collab? Is it like a groups of four? Is it like single?
Yeah, all sorts.
Oh,
all sorts. So, I mean, the first 2 years I had to do that. My memory is getting foggy. This is like 10 years ago now.
Wow.
Because I did it straight out of high school. The first year I did 4 performance showcases.
Okay.
And I actually studied the bass.
Oh, nice.
That was my major in first year. And the performances were generally pretty chill, but there was this like looming pressure of don't stuff up, because you've got industry professionals and all your peers who, in my case, were basically better than me in every way. It was so intimidating.
Yeah, wow.
So it was a really big growing opportunity to not like psych yourself out and get intimidated. So it's a little bit like that. I watch movies like Whiplash.
Okay.
Have you guys seen
No,
Whiplash?
I've
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's a stunning movie. It's more of like a psychological thriller about like an abusive power dynamic, but it plays out in the setting of a jazz school, like a bachelor's kind of degree, and it follows this young guy who wants to study drums to be a killer jazz drummer, right?
I've seen a clip, and he's like, the guy's like, faster.
Yeah, faster.
Like,
Not quite my tempo. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It didn't seem realistic because he was tensing up. Usually drummers, if you're trying to play
super
fast,
relaxed,
you have to relax.
Yeah, totally. It's a great movie. I feel like that is a hyper exaggerated caricature of what everyone's impression of like a cutthroat jazz degree would be like, being in that setting. That was not my experience, like at all. Maybe it's like that at Berkeley, I don't know. But it wasn't like that in New Zealand.
Gotcha.
No.
So you said there was like this kind of pressure of not messing up because professors and all that. Was that something that was over the whole environment, like everyone felt it?
Totally.
Yeah. What do you think caused that? Is that more like the professors put out that vibe, or is it more just the students just, like what caused that?
It's hard to say. I think on some level it's kind of necessary. Do you know what I mean? It's not, I wouldn't say it's a good thing, but I would say like that kind of pressure as a performer is everywhere. Like not wanting to stuff up, wanting to nail your parts, wanting to accurately convey what is inside that you want to get out through your fingers, through your voice or whatever.
Right.
So I think like there's a time and place for like a kind of a pressure training ground.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of sets you up to be less shakeable when you actually go out and gig. You know.
So would you say it's like a buttress of like for the real life as a performer?
Oh my gosh.
Stop it.
Babe, we just started.
A buttress.
That
That was a stretch. That's a
that
really
is a stretch, but it kind of works. So I have to congratulate her. Let's just take a moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations. Good job. You're gonna get milk.
I
really wanted to win. I've been wanting to win the past 4 episodes. Like really, like intensely wanting to win.
Right.
But you know what? You're my partner. You're my soulmate, and I support you. Congratulations from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Anyways, so
that was beautiful. Wow.
So that pressure, you said that pressure ended up working well for you.
I think it benefited me.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you grew up. When did you go? What age did you go to school?
I would have been 17.
17 until the age of.
I did mine part-time because I was working
Gotcha.
along the sides. I think I did mine in 5 years.
5 years, gotcha.
Yeah.
So from 17 to 22?
Ish, yeah.
Ish.
Something like that.
So at the same time, from my understanding, you were also serving at your local church?
Yeah.
Great. So when did you start serving at a church? As a musician, as a worship leader?
I remember as a worship leader?
Mm-hmm. Or a musician, however.
Musician? I mean, when would that have been? 2013
Wow.
was when everything kind of in my life changed because I graduated high school, started going to this, going through the bachelor's, and I shifted church.
Oh.
So I grew up going to Baptist church with my parents.
Okay.
But by that age, 17, I was like, man, I want to pursue God my way. You know, kind of realized it was between me and him. And I don't even know if I talked to my parents about it, but I just started going to this other church.
Oh.
And it was this like crazy church. Like, you know how people, sometimes call Bethel cultish?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Also,
like,
that's
it was
super
like
out there.
charismatic or more like
Pentecostal.
Super Pentecostal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So to our non-Christian friends that are watching us, when we say charismatic church or Pentecostal friends, it's when you walk in and then there's an old lady running around, and then there's people are on the floor.
Yeah.
And then there's people possibly yelling, screaming,
laughing.
And it could be a good thing or
demonic. Who knows?
Who knows? So just wanted to give you guys a little bit of context.
I've seen people slither like snakes.
Slither.
It's fascinating.
I've seen you slither, but like as a dance move, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Good times. Yeah.
Yeah. Another, you remind me, like, one of the classic things that would happen so often in this church that I started going to. I remember one time I was on worship. I started on bass, actually, because I was doing my degree in bass,
right?
And all these things. Started serving on bass, and there was this moment during a worship set, which was going for like 2 hours.
2 hours.
It was crazy. I needed to go to the bathroom. Bathrooms are at the end of the building, in the entrance, and I'm on stage in this like school hall kind of setting.
Real quick, number 1 or number 2? Or
I actually can't remember.
Oh, wow.
I have a feeling it was number 1.
Gotcha.
Thank you for asking.
No, of course.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I put down my bass, and I start making my way down the stage, through the crowd of people, and at the very back of the church, there are probably a dozen people with flags, and they're going crazy. It's like some taekwondo, like
it's deadly
rehearsal in the back. It's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like ducking and weaving. And I'm like having to make eye contact and be like, yeah, I'm trying to come through, you know. I go to the bathroom. I come back and there's like more people. There's like twice as many people now with flags. There's this one guy who's super passionate for the Lord. He brings like dozens of flags every week and just divvies them out. And people are picking up flags and going crazy. There's kids with flags. There's old people with flags. And this time, as I'm in the back trying to come to the front, no one can see me because they're all facing forward with their flags. I'm trying to weave through. Wow. It takes me an eternity to get back onto the stage. But yeah, I almost got decapitated.
They probably thought you were a dancer by the way you were moving around.
Like weaving.
You probably look so graceful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's amazing.
Just classic Pentecostal things.
Right.
You know, small Pentecostal churches.
Right. No, I mean, I've been there. Like in the Philippines, like Pentecostal church is, you know, I think I've witnessed a couple barks.
Barks.
Arf, arf. Anyways, we'll not get into that. That's a little too much. It's too much for me. And so, anyways. So, you were serving on the worship team as you were going to school.
Yeah.
What was the what's the nuance between the two cultures in both music, right? But what was the culture? Did you feel that pressure to not mess up also in church?
0%.
Wow.
0%. I think because it was quite a small worship team.
Right, gotcha.
And I was like the only bassist.
Mm-hmm.
I also played guitar, so guitar is my main instrument.
Right.
But I was the only person who played bass, like semi-reliably.
Right.
So I think there was a level of confidence in knowing that, like, if I can follow the chart
Uh-huh.
and follow where everyone's going,
Right.
I'm doing okay.
Right.
You know,
right,
I don't need to be Victor Wooten and nail
Victor
some
yeah.
ludicrous stuff, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, no, it's completely different. It's completely different. One is performance. One is just adoration, right?
Yeah.
One is like serving. The other is trying to prove that you've learnt something.
Right, for
You
sure.
know, they're very different in motive and expression.
For sure.
And also one is like I'm trying to push the limits of what I've learned in order to prove that I can do the things that I should be able to do on paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other one is like, what do you have to do as a church bassist? Like play like 6 notes
Yeah.
in a song?
Maybe 7. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like it's pretty chill.
Yeah.
It's more about how you serve the team and how you love the Lord. You know, it's completely different. Yeah, so I started on bass.
Right.
I did that for probably 3 years, which was a beautiful training ground for like, not just training ground, like it was a beautiful time of learning who the Lord was in the context of like music and worship.
Right.
And corporate worship, sorry, not worship.
Yeah.
Because obviously worship isn't a genre or a song. Or
Right.
Like
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. Posture.
Exactly.
But so I'm curious, right? I mean, you said some of that pressure in music school actually helped you out a lot. Was there anything that you learned in music school outside of musicality that actually helped you within the worship environment?
Define musicality.
Like, not like music theory. Like, instead of like learning these are the right notes, you know, this is how you play. Outside of that, because I'm sure you've used plenty of things that you learned from school and used it within worship context. Maybe not. But like, as far as values, as far as being able to handle pressure, as far as those principles, was there anything you learned in music school that you're like, oh, this should be taken to the worship or to even the Christian circle?
That's a really great question. I think aside from the pressure thing, honestly, not a whole lot. A lot of it was the musicality.
Gotcha.
I think it's a really interesting tension or dichotomy, the difference between like worship and creativity. Like they overlap hugely, right?
Yeah.
And they enhance each other.
Yeah.
Like each person singing a new song unto the Lord is like beautiful worship to him. But a new song isn't necessarily worship. So I don't know, there's an interesting tension there, which I kind of like started to experience and realized like, oh, worship is a heart thing. 100%. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to necessarily answer the question in any other ways other than like the pressure thing and having like an increased vocabulary for great. Like what it is that I'm picturing for the setting of a worship team, like having skills for not necessarily relating with teams, because I actually got more experience in church than I did in the degree.
Oh,
as far as like relating with teams, like,
gotcha.
Hey, can we tighten up, maybe raise the click 2 BPM, or hey, I notice you're dragging a little bit in this section of the song, like no sweat, it's just kind of throwing me off, like you know what I mean, those kind of conversations. Another thing that was really helpful was like we all hear music, right? And we all can kind of feel, like on some level, we all kind of feel similar things, with different
as far as where it's going and where we want to go.
Expectations, tension, release, all this kind of stuff, dynamics. For me, having language put to those things through music theory and through ear training was like the most amazing gift I think I've ever been given, aside from like things that were directly from the Lord. You know, like it was an amazing experience going through that education, you know, through the bachelor's, because it just like it set me up to have a grid for how to interpret everything music. You know, it's just been such an asset.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful I did it.
No, that's amazing.
So that's been really useful for worship, right? You know?
No, for sure.
In so many ways you wouldn't expect.
Right.
You know?
Right. So we served on teams for a couple of years, and
Mm-hmm.
we've done so many sets together. What an honor.
Yeah,
and
it's
a
been
pleasure.
awesome.
It's been so much fun.
It's been awesome.
You're such a creative person, and from my experiences with you, I've seen some of the risks you've taken on our sets, and I see you pushing the boundaries of worship to what we're used to, and I've seen you try to push that boundaries into places that we've never gone, not just as a church, but I've seen you trying to break the norm as far as our worship sets. I've seen you exploring. Maybe that's a good way to say it. What do you think is where do you stand as far as like how important it is when it comes to the worship environment of pushing that boundary and exploring? How important is that within the worship culture?
That's a really great question. I mean, first of all, you honor me.
Mm-hmm.
That means a lot. Thank you. I'll take that as a huge compliment. Yeah, I think on some level, we're all wired differently, right?
Yeah.
And we're all anointed for different things at different times. Like, I'm under no illusion to think that I'm called to just like be a pioneer in worship for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's what the Lord is doing in me at the moment, or has been doing the last couple of years.
Yeah.
In this season, it really feels like I'm going back to the basics, where it's no longer about pushing like tonality or like harmonic ideas. Like, oh, let's explore some Lydian with like a mode. Like let's go down a different path.
Right.
What if we do this super risky thing musically for the context of the church? It's really out of the box and it's pioneering. But the Lord is all over it and he loves it.
Right.
You know, I think there's so many things in the church that we've yet to experience that people with an arts background, or people who are really creative and kind of fringe, have a lot to offer.
Yeah.
But anyway, as I was saying, I feel like in this season, I'm kind of being stripped back, and it's about not even, it's nothing to do with technicality or skill. It's actually risky to be simple.
Wow.
For me at the moment.
Wow.
Like risk looks a little different.
Yeah.
Like
it
risk
costs more, huh?
Yeah. Risk looks like playing 3 chords
Wow.
and singing as quietly as I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's super different. So there's like ebbs and flows to that, right?
Yeah.
It's like you explore an area and then you settle it.
Yeah.
You take it as a stronghold.
Right.
You know? So I don't know how to answer that for the context of like the wider church.
Yeah.
I think there's tensions there.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it's important to be seeking the new.
Right.
But as soon as seeking the new becomes a higher priority than seeking him, we're actually, and what pleases him,
yeah,
we're actually chasing an idol.
Yeah.
And it's gonna fail us.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna putting the cart before the horse.
That's great.
You know. So, I mean, as long as it's submitted to him, I think there's immense value in doing stuff that's never been done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. No, that's great. Yeah. I think the reason I ask is I feel like one of my biggest frustrations the past few years within the worship circle and worship environment is I don't really see a lot of willingness to go outside of the sound that we've already have.
When you say the sound, are you talking like tonality? Are you thinking like what the role of an instrument is in the band?
I think both.
Songs that we all know.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Even within cultures, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially we're in the Bethel circle.
Yeah, so we've got the Bethel sound.
Right, there's a Bethel sound, which is powerful.
Amazing.
Which changed lives.
Yeah. Then there's like Upper Room or...
Right. There's Maverick.
Maverick at the moment. Hugely.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I would just love to see different sounds from different cultures.
Yeah.
I think, shout out to Morgan Faliolo, who was really fighting for that.
He's unique, eh?
Yeah.
He's really special.
But I really do see the value in different sounds with different cultures because I think we all carry a different vantage point of the Father. And if we get satisfied within our sound, then we kind of miss out on the other experiences that we get to have.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally agree.
But yeah, another thing I'm curious about. So, being a musician, you can't be a musician and not be on a stage for most contexts in music, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, you have to be heard, you have to be seen, right? That's a part of it. What was that like, as far as navigating with the small poppy?
Oh, the
syndrome?
tall poppy syndrome.
The tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why don't you give us our viewers context for those that aren't familiar with it?
Yeah. So, tall poppy syndrome. Kind of a brief description or synopsis. It's like you're not allowed to be great. You're not allowed to stand out. You're not allowed to be outspoken. You're not allowed to be proud of yourself. Like all of these kind of cultural pressures,
Right.
which are very common among Commonwealth nations. So I'm talking like New Zealand, Australia, the UK. Yeah, it's borderline kind of a cultural epidemic. And it's something that I'm thoroughly fed up with about my culture, about my country, you know. It's had a huge effect on me growing up. And it's had a huge effect on a lot of people, you know. Just this idea of you're not allowed to shine brightly. You're not allowed to be yourself is what it's saying, essentially.
Right.
How
How do you deal with that? Like, as far as a musician, like, what was that like for you?
I mean, growing up, I was the shyest kid. Like, I don't remember talking to anyone from the age of, like, 5 to 8. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, I don't remember anything. So shy. And that's closely related to that. You know, not allowed to be outspoken. And music was, like, this secret love that I had and that I was drawn to, you know, as a kid, probably like age 11 or something. So when I went to like my degree and when I started to serve on worship teams, actually this transitions back to what you're talking about with how I got involved with worship. I initially got involved on bass and I was relatively comfortable with that because I was the back line. I never had to get on a mic.
Right.
I never had to be heard. I was always felt. Do you know what I mean? Like the role of a bassist is like the bridge between like melodic and harmonic instruments and the rhythm section. Right. So you're kind of like the basement or the foundation of the band. And I was super happy doing that. But the Lord had other ideas because he's called me to be heard, right? To make music and make art. And my pastors picked up on this. They heard that I played guitar and they heard that I could sing. So I think it was 2015 or 16. So I'd been serving on bass for like 3 years maybe. Right. They asked me to worship lead. They asked me to get on the mic. And my debut time, I was so...
What were you feeling?
I hated it.
Really?
I remember we found a video of it. I'll try and get a video of it. I think it's the funniest thing ever. Because I am so nervous. Wow. I'm like gritting my teeth. My eyes are like completely shut. Oh my gosh. I'm like terrified. My voice is all squeaky. Like, trying to strum guitar. And I was singing Good Good Father when it had just come out.
Oh yeah.
Must have been 2015 or something. But I felt like I got coaxed into it. You know, like tricked. Right. Coaxed is the wrong word. Coerced. Yeah. Because everything within me was like, no, I can't do this. This is terrifying. Yeah. But I did it anyway, like trusted my leaders. Right. And I kept doing it until I came to Bethel in 2019 for Worship U. Right. Bearing in mind, this whole time I was like ill before I'd get up to worship lead because I was so scared.
To that, even after 4 years of doing it?
Even after 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 3-4 years. Yeah, it was like my whole mindset was completely opposed to it. My understanding of who I was, right, which was all an illusion. It turned out. Yeah, and I came here for Worship U, and the Lord just changed my life. Like I was here for 2 weeks, and I don't know how else to explain it other than He overshadowed me, and I just crumpled. like over and over again. I'd just cry, and it felt like the Holy Spirit was just massaging lies and wounding.
Was this on stage?
This was just in the congregation.
Oh, in Congress, gotcha.
Here in Reading, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like that for 2 weeks, and there was this one time where, I mean, there are details about it that I can't share because it's sacred, but he turned up in the most tangible way I've ever experienced, and it was just love, like sheer love.
Right.
And he showed me some things about what I was made for and about the future, and it was 180 degrees out of phase of what I thought I was my whole life.
Wow.
Which was like small,
right,
and unimportant, like all of these things,
right,
totally in line with like tall poppy syndrome. Like,
right,
I just blend in, you know.
Wow.
And he just broke that off me.
Wow.
And it wasn't until that point that I started to come to grips with like the idea of being in the limelight and being okay being seen,
right,
and like no longer like delineating, no longer conflating these ideas of being the center of attention and being arrogant,
right,
because the implication in New Zealand of being the center of attention is you're arrogant,
right,
but it's just not true.
right.
It just means you're favored, you know.
So this is recent, bro.
This is recent.
This is like 3 years ago. Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, it's so. When I first heard about it, it was so interesting to me because I've never heard.
Tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Where does it come from? Like that culture? Is it?
I think it's a UK thing. I'm not really sure. I know a lot of it comes from, kind of wartime. It's like a vestigial limb of, or like scars, so to speak.
From war.
From war, because it's a fatherless generation. From what I understand, New Zealand lost a large percentage of our men through the war effort. So we have a lot of kind of fatherless people growing up.
Wow.
Throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on.
I'm getting teary-eyed. That's so sad.
It's horrible. It's true for a lot of countries. Especially in the Commonwealth. And there's a cost that comes with that where people aren't believed in and people aren't covered.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we have this mentality of if you can't work, you're good for nothing. Like, why be all talk? Why be all like shiny and the center of attention when you could just put your hand to the plow? You know, like prove it.
Right.
So there's a lot of like kind of fake humble leadership kind of qualities that I see in New Zealand culture, which parts of it are really good. Like we're pretty unarrogant, but it also means that we're pretty insignificant and small in our mindset. A lot of New Zealanders. Which is something that I love about American culture. Like
everyone is trying to be big.
Everyone's like, I matter.
Yeah.
Like you're driving, you cut someone off, they're gonna ride up right beside you and pull the finger at you.
Right,
I'm not speaking from experience.
Right. I am. That was me. Literally. No, I'm just kidding. Well, not really kidding, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I find that so crazy. So this whole concept of tall poppy is like most of your life up to about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was born in it. It was just so taken for granted, you know.
It's all like you knew. It's
exactly.
all like it's all they know. You had the privilege of actually coming here and learning something and seeing the difference.
Being broken out of it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I have a lot of admiration for like the American people.
Yeah.
And the culture.
It definitely gets unhealthy. The other side of the spectrum.
All cultures.
Right.
It's like
for sure.
It's what do you call it? Snakes and ladders. Not snakes and ladders. Like there are perks and there are weaknesses, right? Strengths and weaknesses.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For sure. But dude, thanks for sharing your story, man.
Yeah.
Thanks
for asking.
That's amazing. We're gonna move on to our next segment, which is viewer question.
Viewer question.
Ooh. Yeah.
So viewer question is from Rena A. from Boston, 29 years old. It says, "Hi, my name is Rena. I'm currently attending Berklee School of Music." Oh, we're just talking about Berklee. "For my recording arts bachelor's degree.
Sick.
I also play bass and help lead the worship team for my local church." That's Marcus.
He's your cousin. This is your girl version. That's your cousin.
Going to Berklee and being surrounded by so many highly skilled and driven musicians taught me so much about being disciplined at my craft. my frustration is that I don't quite see that same drivenness and value for excellence at my church. I don't do well with confrontation. So my issue is, how do I bring this up to my team and avoid why can I say that word?
Confrontation. You have a French accent today. Confrontation.
I don't know. I can't speak right now. At the same time.
That's a great question. What's your name? Rena?
Rena.
Why don't we take turns?
Yeah.
You have any thoughts, Marcus? This is like your cousin.
This is my cousin.
Yeah.
I mean, immediately, like, I don't... to me, how do I explain this? I've got to try and articulate this. It sounds like a lack of vision. You know what I mean? Like, people don't generally feel motivated to go after things unless they have vision. Do you know what I mean? Like, pain is a really good motivator, but it doesn't sound like your worship team's in any pain. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are content with how things are going. And I know that you can see more. So that's a point of tension, right? Because you can see more, but they can't see more. So I'd suggest that it's something to do with vision. You know, like what are you seeing that they're not seeing? Is it just excellence, or is it like there's a new sound, like the Lord wants to do something new, and we're only going to get there if we grow in unity and in excellence. And I don't know. So vision, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
So I feel like when we have a pain point, when it comes to the kingdom, when it comes to the church, and it's confusing when it's a pain for me personally, right? Like, I've experienced things that's a pain point for me, but it's like not really a pain point for most people. And I feel like when God allows those things to happen, it's because we're actually wired in a certain way that we have certain values that when it's not being met, it causes pain points. And I feel like when that happens, it's actually not just if it just stays a pain point and we just continue to leave it a pain point, I feel like it turns into bitterness and frustration. But it's actually, when those things happen, it's actually a responsibility that you should take on, at least for the most part. So I feel like Rena, right? Rena. So I feel like if you feel frustrated about the excellence and maybe no one else feels that frustration, it could be because you're being called, to kind of lead that. Like, what would
Totally.
I don't know what's
I
the right
totally
way to
agree.
say it. Like, what would you do about it?
Yeah.
Sounds a little pointy finger, right? But that's not what I meant. But it's like God's actually allowing you to be empowered in that area. Maybe that's a better way to say it. And yeah, like, what have you learned in the music school that you could kind of bring into the worship culture as far as discipline and just growing in your craft? And to be honest, I think there's a healthy way to do confrontation. Like, we learned that a lot in school, right? In BSSM.
Yeah,
that
you suck.
Yeah, no, just kidding. No, but there's a way to do it where the other person still feels loved, and you're not talking down on them because you went to music school, but you're actually calling them higher because you see the potential in them. It's like the reason why you're frustrated is because you think they can do better. Is you actually see higher than what they are right now. So that's amazing. You actually see them better than what they are right now. So I think approaching people in a way where you're actually trying to elevate them and empower them is actually the way to go, instead of pointing the finger, because you actually have you see them as they will be and not as they are right now, which is amazing. So I think approaching them in love and in with a heart that you see something in them that they don't quite see in themselves, and just approaching them in a way that's not accusatory, is that a word?
Yeah.
Or condemning. So just it's okay to confront them and just call them higher, and definitely I don't know if you're the leader or if you're the worship pastor, but definitely talk to your leaders first. Maybe they'll have better language for that, and perhaps they can even talk to the team, being that they have the authority to do that.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. Another thing for me to consider is if they see that in you, if they see you putting in the time for the team, not just showing up when you need to, but putting that like little extra mile. Because I feel like it puts more value in what you're saying in I can't even say it. Confrontation.
Yeah.
Confrontation is actually not bad. We call it brave communication.
Yeah.
Where it's yes, like what Paul was saying, say it out of love. And I'm not really a worship leader, but feedback when it's given in love is received better than when it's given in a place like you need to do better, this or that, like what you're pointing out everything you're doing wrong. But if they see it, it's as a way of like championing them, then that's what I think.
For sure. So yeah, Rena, that's our advice for you.
Can I share another point? Would that be okay?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
Something I'm just reflecting on is, like, on any growth journey, we learn to copy first before we learn to innovate.
Yeah.
You know?
Imitate before innovate. Yeah.
Totally. Whether it's a language, whether it's an art form, like you learn to imitate the music that you listen to, and then it tumbles around in your subconscious for a couple of years and comes out of your fingers, and then suddenly you're making, not suddenly, but over time you start carving out something that's fresh because you are your own person. I'm wondering, like, what if there's something available for your team to learn how to copy, like, what's happening somewhere else, like to learn, like, because that's partly what excellence is, right? Like learning what is excellent, how to do it, and then innovating afterwards. So I really agree with what everyone said. Like, I think you, like, the Lord wants to use you to start affecting the culture of the worship team that you're a part of. I think that you have what it takes because you're noticing it, and because you have a background in both worship and music education or higher education. And it makes me wonder, like, is there a way to build vision for, like, hey, I'm personally, as the bassist, I'm going to get the same bass rig that Bethel uses, for example.
Right.
And I wonder what it would sound like if we started tuning our snare more like this, or we got this cymbal for the drums.
Right.
And I wonder what it would be like if we, just starting to have these dialogues of, like, literally putting yourself out there and being like, this is what I'm picturing. Yeah. This is the vision that I have. What if we went after it together? Being the one to do it first, obviously, and then having that brave communication of putting it out there. Right. And I think it being a tangible vision is really important, right? Sure. Like, what if we go after something that already exists?
Right.
Because on the way, the Lord's going to take us somewhere else.
Right.
And we'll gain all this experience and excellence.
Yeah.
In the pursuit.
Right.
Yeah, that's something I would.
No, that's great, dude.
Consider.
That's super practical, and that actually gives Rena, like, steps of what to do next. Do you know what I mean? That's great. I love that. Before we go into our last segment, what for our viewers, where can they find your music, Marcus?
Oh, I don't have a lot of music out. That's interesting. Okay. I have this, like, kind of folk project at the moment.
Let's go.
Kind of bedroom folk.
Yeah.
Called Birdling's Flat.
Yes.
I've been on a handful of other things and helped record a handful of other things, but this is, like, my project at the moment. Yeah, Birdling's Flat. I guess we can link that up.
Yeah, we'll put it on the info below. And yeah, awesome, bro.
Gonna be releasing stuff in the next 50 years. I don't know when.
No, dude. So Marcus, phenomenal songwriter.
Thanks.
You've made me tear up multiple times with your songs. Yeah. So you hear me humming your songs randomly when we're hanging out. And yeah. So he's. You guys gotta stay tuned. Yeah. So check him out. We'll put a link below. So now for our last segment, we're gonna be doing a challenge.
Ooh.
So for today, we'll be doing. Let's do a last drum roll. You want a drum roll, babe? Let's do a moment of silence for our last challenge. Okay, that's disrespectful, bro. Whoever laughs, we're canceling this. Okay, ready? For our last challenge, we'll be doing 1 minute portrait. Okay?
Of who?
Of each other.
Of each other.
Of each other.
Oh.
So Marcus, I want you to draw. Who do you want to draw?
I'll draw you.
Okay, so and I'll draw Marcus. I'll still draw myself.
Okay.
So can I just say something? That's my wife. So it better. So if it's
Because
not.
you draw me like all the time.
So if it's not any good, bro, like
Oh,
I
Lord, help me.
I'm so sensitive about it.
Okay.
So sensitive. I get really upset.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm
make
going to
it
set a
good.
timer for
Okay?
1 minute.
So okay, and then we're gonna
Ready?
present
Gosh.
after. Ready?
1, 2, 3, go.
Oh Lord. Oh man. This is okay. I'm really not a visual artist. This is.
Good.
You're really pushing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna give you headphones. That's gonna be sick.
That's good. Oh yeah. That's great.
Oh dang it. I just drew you without shoulders. That's
How
not great.
dare you?
That's really not good. Oh no. This is bad. Do you do this every time?
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I'm very privileged. Yeah, look at me for a second. Oh yeah, okay.
Got 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
10 seconds? What? Oh no, this is not good.
Oh, timer is up. 10. Okay, just sign your work now.
I'll sign it.
Okay. Wow.
Masterpiece. Okay, so Marcus, you're our guest, so you can go
Okay.
ahead and present. That's your camera right over there.
Here is
This one right here.
that one. Okay. Here is my interpretation of Mattel. Super cool. You,
It's beautiful.
Paul, this is the last time I'm coming. This is the last. I'm so done. I'm so. Are you?
I can't breathe.
What do you expect?
Oh my gosh.
What did you expect? Did you expect Picasso? Like, you gave us
At least
60
he spelled my
seconds.
name right.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Do you like it, Mattel?
I love it. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
This reminds me of a cartoon character somewhere, though.
I promise. I almost passed out. I almost passed out.
I just want to apologize for your left eyebrow.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why you've got an attitude problem. Paul, look at it. Look at it, Paul.
Look at
That's
that.
your wife. That's who you married.
Oh, I'm getting a cramp. I have to stand up. Oh my gosh, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh,
Are you
bro.
crying or sweating or both?
I'm crying. Bro, can I see it again? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, can I just say something? I'm sorry that I laughed.
I don't believe you.
It's beautiful.
I don't believe you.
It's beautiful.
Nah. Nah.
Whew. Okay. Thank you, bro. That's great. I'm sorry that I laughed. Did I hurt you?
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I forgive you.
Can't just laugh at someone's
I'm
work.
so sorry.
Yeah,
It just caught me
dude.
off guard.
Dude, you just laughed at my creativity.
No, it brought
my
joy.
God-given creativity.
Can I just say something? It brought joy. It brought me joy.
Great.
Okay, go ahead then.
This is
That's so...
It's pretty good. It looks like Randy Jackson from... Doesn't it look like Randy Jackson?
It's a no from me.
That's beautiful.
I
babe.
really like the lips.
Me too.
That's a real strong point.
This is you, Marcus.
What?
Let me see.
That's really actually sick. That's really cool.
What?
Why am I look like I'm on like...
Why is his
Am I high?
eyes?
What's
Is his
going on?
eyes closed?
Yeah, because he was looking down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh my
But there you go.
Wow.
Marcus, we're not even going to do a vote. We usually put it out on social media. You won.
Did I win?
You won. I've never gotten that reaction from a portrait. I love that. Well, there you go, Marcus. Thank you so much.
Thank
Hey,
you,
thank you
Marcus.
for having me. I feel genuinely really honored. You guys, like what you guys are cultivating and the way that you guys like make someone feel at home, and you compliment them, and you just like speak into them. Yeah. And I just feel so praised and so honored. So thank you.
We love you so much, bro. You're literally my brother. I love you.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we love you guys too. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like button, and share.
And follow us on our social medias.
There you go. Love you guys, and
not
toodles.
Not just decoration. We are transformation.
A cartoon or a card with that.
Yeah.
In the beginning was a garden.
This is Garden Studios. Welcome home.